Sharpclaw is a dark ginger tom with green eyes and powerful hind legs from a SkyClan ancestry. He was born as a kitty pet with the name Scratch. His mother was named Jessamy, and she and her two kits, Scratch and Flower, were cared for by an elderly two-leg. He ended up going away and giving them to his younger kin, but they had kits who didn't know how to care for the cats properly, so Jessamy made the decision to bring her family to live in the wild. They became proud of their ability to live without two legs and hostile to any cat who challenged them. It's unclear whether anything happened to his mother and sister, or whether they just decided to go their own ways, but eventually Scratch was living on his own in a gorge. He liked to keep to himself, but he was friends with a she-cat named Leaf. While he was hunting, a stranger, a bright ginger tom, tried to speak to him, but Scratch wasn't interested in talking and simply walked away. The next time he saw him was when both of them showed up to save Clover and her kits from a fox. The stranger introduced himself as Firestar, and explained that he had come to rebuild a group of cats called SkyClan that had once lived in the gorge. Scratch wasn't too interested at first, but after Firestar explained that clan cats trained to defend themselves and didn't fight their clanmates, he agreed to try it out. It took him a little bit to get used to being around other cats, but he grew accustomed to it, and he introduced Firestar to some of the other rogues. After a meeting where Firestar explained clan life to the local cats, Scratch decided that he wanted to join. As eager as he was, he didn't completely understand the warrior code at first, and had to have parts of it explained, such as why queens eat before warriors. The day after the initial meeting, Firestar held the newly reformed SkyClan's first ceremony. Scratch was the first cat named as a new warrior of SkyClan, with the new name Sharpclaw, and he was given Cherry Paw as an apprentice. He bonded with his apprentice, and he was also good friends with Ravenpaw. Like all the other SkyClan cats, Sharpclaw took part in patrols and learning how to truly be a warrior. Firestar recognized that he was the best fighter out of all the new members. Sharpclaw was very interested in the idea of 9 lives, and even hinted to Firestar that he was interested in becoming leader, but Firestar knew that that wasn't the right reason to want the leadership, and besides, it would be up to StarClan to pick the right cat. SkyClan soon discovered that their ancestors had been driven out by a horde of rats. Rats whose descendants were still around, and now threatened the young clan. The rats attacked their camp one night, and SkyClan knew they had to deal with the problem once and for all. They fought the rats in their own nest, and eventually were victorious when Firestar killed the rats' leader. StarClan finally revealed their choice for the clan's new leader, Leaf Dapple, and when she earned her leader name, she named Sharpclaw's apprentice a warrior with the name Cherrytail, and picked Sharpclaw as her deputy. Although Firestar had been uncertain about Sharpclaw before, he knew he had the potential to be a great leader one day after spending moons living by the warrior code. Leafstar introduced some new ideas to the clan, daylight warriors, who were kitty pets that would join their clanmates and hunt by day, and go back to their 2 legs at night. Sharpclaw disapproved of the idea, and repeatedly made his feelings known to his leader. Between that and other issues, like the arrival of a group of strangers from 2-Leg Place and the return of some of the rats, he began butting heads with her often, and Leafstar began to wonder if Sharpclaw was trying to undermine her. He became friends with one of the 2-Leg Place cats, Stick, and after the newcomers had stayed with the clan for a while, Sharpclaw suggested they become warriors. He also persuaded a young loner, Egg, to join the clan by telling him that he wouldn't be safe on his own with a fox so near his den. Once Egg had joined, Leafstar assigned Sharpclaw as his mentor. Although Egg hadn't been turning along, during one of his assessments, Sharpclaw admitted that the young tom was just as old and experienced as many of the clan's warriors. Stick convinced Sharpclaw that it would be a good idea to train in the 2-Leg Place, in case they ever needed to fight there. Sharpclaw didn't tell Leafstar about it, but when she found out, Stick revealed the truth. He had come to the clan and suggested the 2-Leg Place training not to join SkyClan, but to ask SkyClan for help with their rivals back in 2-Leg Place. Leafstar eventually agreed to help. Sharpclaw and his apprentice were part of the patrol that went to aid them. After they returned home, Leafstar spoke with Sharpclaw and made it clear that her orders were to be followed. He agreed and explained that he believed that she was the right cat to be leader, and that he had only been challenging her in order to be sure that SkyClan's leader had faith in herself. Leafstar knew this Sharpclaw wouldn't always be easy to get along with, but she knew that it would be a good thing to have the strong-minded cat with his own ideas at her side. It's not clear what happened to Sharpclaw's apprentice, Egg, whether he ever became a warrior or if he left the clan, but eventually he was no longer a member of SkyClan. Sharpclaw and his former apprentice Cherrytail became mates, and the clan began to gossip that they might have kits before long. Speaking of kits, when Leafstar grew close to kidding, Sharpclaw ordered her not to perform all her usual duties until she'd kidded. She wasn't happy about that, but he pointed out that she wasn't being kept prisoner in camp. She just had to take it easy. Not long after their birth, she was caught by a two-leg, and Sharpclaw led a patrol to rescue them. The two-leg's kitty pet, Sol, helped carry the kits to safety and decided to join SkyClan. Sharpclaw wasn't keen on him since he didn't seem to have any skill for hunting and fighting, and he was especially furious when they discovered that Sol was stealing prey from foxes because it put the clan in danger. Eventually, after Sol endangered Leafstar's kits, he was kicked out. Cherrytail had Sharpclaws Kids a few moons later, and they became apprentices with the names Duskpaw, Hawkpaw, Cloudpaw, and Blossompaw. Duskpaw died after being caught in a fire. Afterward, Sharpclaw was a lot quieter and colder than usual. Hawkpaw was certain that his father blamed him for his brother's death. The remaining kits earned their warrior names: Blossomheart, Cloudmist, and Hawkwing. A cat named Darktail came to SkyClan not long after, and the clan thought that he might be able to help them with the prophecy that Echo Song had received. Sharpclaw and Hawkwing had different ideas on what the prophecy might mean, and they quarreled over it. Despite this, Sharpclaw was still worried about his son, and was concerned that Duskpaw's death had made Hawkwing more reckless. Things didn't improve between the two of them. Sharpclaw was irritated with his son when Hawkwing and Darktail went to find the other clans but failed, and he was suspicious of Darktail. Hawkwing defended him, and Sharpclaw accused him of trying to make Darktail his replacement brother. The two found it difficult to talk to each other after that, but after they'd gone on a hunting patrol together, Hawkwing began to hope that things would be patched up between them in time. They never got the chance. Darktail had been working against SkyClan the whole time, and one night he brought his rogues to attack the clan. During the battle, he attacked Sharpclaw himself, with the help of his friend Rain. Hawkwing tried to save his father, but it was too late. Before he had reached them, Sharpclaw had been killed. Sharpclaw went to StarClan and was reunited with his son, Duskpaw. Together with other clanmates that had been recently lost, they welcomed Pebbleshine to StarClan. Sharpclaw was an independent cat, but he became a true warrior and an ideal deputy for SkyClan. He died a hero's death, and though he wasn't able to make things up with his son before he died, there is no doubt that he must be proud of him.